so this is my Italian film spotlight. Today I'm talking about an Italian police thriller from director Stelvio Massi. It stars Thomas Milian, Gastone Moschin and Stefania Casini. The English title is The Emergency Squad and the original Italian title is Squadra Volante. This is one of the early crime films to star Thomas Milian, and it's a rare example of a film where Milian dubs himself in the Italian version, so you can hear his voice with a Cuban accent. And Emergency Squad inspired a number of unrelated pseudo-sequels which all had the word squad in the title. There were films like Squadra Anticipo, Squadra Antifurto, and so on, and they were all trying to cash in on this film's success. This was Stelvio Massi's first feature-length film as a director. Before that, he worked on dozens of films as director of photography, most notably on Giuliano Carnimeo's Giallo, The Case of the Bloody Iris. With Emergency Squad, Stelvio Massi made his breakthrough into crime cinema, and he's followed it up with a number of similar films, usually starring Maurizio Merli. So we have the gruff cop, played by Thomas Milian, and he's hell-bent on hunting down this criminal. The criminal is played by Gastone Moschin, who you might know from the excellent film Milan Caliber 9 from Fernando Di Leo. If you don't know Milan Caliber 9, get to know that film. It's a brilliant adaptation of a Giorgio Shabanenko short story. So Gastone Moschin was really good at playing a character who's a criminal but who's not a stupid dumb crook, but he's actually a bit more of a mastermind. He does a fantastic job here. Another cult actor you can see in the Flying Squad is Ray Lovelock. He's like the getaway driver. Ray Lovelock isn't in this film very much, but it's great to see him. It's a familiar face. It's always nice. It's co-scripted by Dardano Sacchetti, who's also curiously listed as assistant director on this film. I wonder what his involvement exactly amounted to. It all takes place in Pavia, in the north of Italy, in the Lombardy region of Italy, and it's shot in the winter time, so there is a lot of beautiful scenes shot in natural light. Police crime films were not as elaborate visually as the gialli. They usually had quite barren set design and were mostly shot on location without constructing any interiors. So they usually had a more of a bleak look and less colorful look to them. Whereas with this film here, there is first of all the film stock, beautiful eye-popping reds and yellows and blues throughout the film. It looks wonderful, which in a way compensates for some deficiencies of the story. The story is sadly not brilliant, but there is enough of it there to, if you're a fan, if you're into 1970s film, it's going to be enough. There is a supporting part for Stefania Casini, the beautiful actress you might remember from Suspiria or Blood for Dracula. Stefania Casini plays a really brainless bimbo. She's like this gangster's mole in this film. She has some of the most embarrassingly stupid lines. So sadly, this is one of the film's weaknesses. The female characters are really dull. In this type of film, in the 70s Italian crime thrillers, female characters usually can be very easily divided into three categories. The cop's wife, who gets swiftly murdered. A prostitute, so quite often cops interrogate sex workers and slap them about and maybe even sleep with them. It's inexcusable because usually those scenes are not well integrated into the story, so they cannot be justified, and they were usually there just to get the topless girls. In this film, in Emergency Squad, there are also some topless scenes which are gratuitous, but there you have it. That was the commercial requirement at the time. To get the film sold, you had to have that. The third role for a female character is the gangster's mole, which we have here. So we don't usually get a tough female character who's responsible for her own actions and who's not just being bundled up and taken against her will somewhere by the protagonist or the antagonists. The good things about this film, besides cinematography, which I've already mentioned, it's not only colorful cinematography, but it's also very mobile, and there are some very nicely framed shots. There are several sequences shot in quite cramped rooms and little flats. They employ this wide-angle lens and they move about these rooms with a handheld camera, framing things quite carefully. Even though the camera wobbles, still there is a great sense of style within the framing. And this is the greatest thing about Stelvio Massi. He was a 100% visual director, and you have to realize if you're going in for a Stelvio Massi film, it might be slow paced, but there are going to be creative moments with slow motion, and there are going to be creative shots in terms of maybe interesting tracking shots and clever use of the natural light and the zoom. But don't expect groundbreaking drama or original characters, because that was not Massi's specialty. Alan Young Pictures, and it's a nice widescreen presentation. It's anamorphic, and it has both English and Italian options. Unfortunately, the English option must have been taken from some very old tape, because the sound is muffled, garbled, very difficult to distinguish, and the levels also sort of fluctuate throughout the film, so it's very uncomfortable if you try and watch this with the English audio. Unfortunately, it's frustrating. The subtitles are provided only in Italian. The film is broken down into 12 chapters, and this release is from 2003, so we're talking nearly 20 years ago here. There is a Blu-ray of this film. I know there is a German Blu-ray, but there might be also a British Blu-ray. Following Squadra Volante, Milian also did a series of crime films with Umberto Lenzi, which are justly celebrated because they represent some of the finest crime films from that era. If you watched and liked Milan Caliber 9 and you like that actor Gastone Moschin, he's great here as well as the baddie. If you're a Stefania Casini fan, she is gorgeous in this film. She wears this crimson red dress and she has beautiful hair, but her character is dumb, and it's a bit embarrassing, the lines she's given. It's all shot around in and around Pavia, so you see some of those locations, how they used to look nearly 50 years ago. And another curious thing about Squadra Volante is the product placement. As you know from the giallo, there is usually a whiskey bottle in the giallo, and here we do have the whiskey bottle, I believe, but there is also this Furriers, which was local to Pavia. It's called, I think, Annabella. And several times throughout the film, from the early scenes through to the final scene, there are either banners from Annabella of Pavia, which is this Furrier's name. Then one of the supporting characters actually works there as a salesperson. There are a few shootouts in Squadra Volante. The squibs in this film are pretty spectacular. If you just want to quickly see the highlights, they're all in the trailer. The Emergency Squad trailer blows away every spectacular kill in this film. And the squibs are quite brutal. They must have used a bit too much powder or too much blood, so when the people get shot, the blood really flows. If you like that sort of thing, that's a good film for that.